Hi Peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back and thank you for clicking on another episode. Before we begin today, I have a very important question for you. Are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? Most of the Peaches that regularly tune into this podcast are not actually subscribed to the channel. It's fine. We can still be friends even if you don't want to subscribe. I am not pressuring you. I do mention it from time to time though because a lot of people just don't really remember or realize that it's something that can be done or how much it actually supports creators to do that. Jamie and I are working on big plans for this little podcast, and having that community number growing means that we can get even more support. So no pressure at all, but if you'd like to support, I'd be very, very grateful. You're subbed, aren't you, Surfshark? Stunning. A big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Just before we go fishing for the a-holes, let me remind you that Surfshark is a VPN. That's a virtual private network with over 3,000 servers worldwide working hard to keep you safe, whilst also helping you unlock all of these beautiful things with a virtual location. That's accessing lower prices online, finance apps, censored sites, and content libraries from all around the world, so that you can watch your favorite shows and movies no matter where you are. Movies like Kung Fu Panda. Do you know the plot of that one? Don't worry about it. Sit down, let me recap it for ya. Picture yourself in the Valley of Peace in ancient China, where geese make noodles and pandas dream of being kung fu warriors. Our boy Po is chosen for the next dragon warrior, and in all honesty, he sucks. He falls, he aches, he tries to be like the other warriors he aspires to be. He fails even more. But then he embraces his true qualities, his love for dumplings, and he unlocks his power within with the help of his besties, his wibbly bits, and a very slow tortoise. He races his baddie Tai Lung all the way across the movie in an attempt to get this scroll, and he opens it up. The scroll says, Surfshark is the real secret to staying safe online. Oh! Tai Lung and Po bond over dumplings and the movies that they can now watch thanks to unlocking content libraries all around the world. They got over their respective traumas and they gave the rest of the residents of ancient China this code, surfshark.com/Shaaba, and told them that they could alternatively use this cute little QR code or the code Shaaba at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Ooh, yeah. Badass Surfshark, badass. At least, I think that's how it goes. You can watch it for yourself and verify the movie plot using Surfshark anywhere in the world. As you know, I use Surfshark every day. I have it on all of my devices, including my TV. In an increasingly scary world, it's nice to feel a little bit of control of your online safety. One thing that I particularly love about Surfshark is their no activity logs policy, which means that Surfshark puts their money where their mouth is. They don't monitor, track, or store anything you do online, unlike those nasty little hackers that try and scam you and get all of your personal history. There's also a 30-day no-risk money-back guarantee, so there is no drama here whatsoever. All the details are downstairs in the description box. For now, should we get on with the show? You're through to 1-800-DRAMA, the show where you share your biggest dilemmas and I help you navigate them. I'm Shaaba, and with your help,
and sometimes mine,
let's help people figure out if they are the drama, because sometimes you just need an outside perspective and we can all expand our own mindsets along the way. Are you ready to dive deep into the a-holes? Let's go. Am I the drama for walking out of my own birthday dinner because my girlfriend turned it into her celebration? Oh lordy. Isn't it just the worst when it's supposed to be a really happy event and that ends up being really sad? Thank you so much to the Peach who cross-posted this onto the 1-800-DRAMA subreddit. Let's see if we can help OP out. So he's a 25-year-old birthday boy, happy birthday, and his birthday was last weekend. He says, I don't usually do anything big, but this year a bunch of my friends are in town and my girlfriend, a 23-year-old woman, offered to plan something. So cute so far, so sweet so far. I was genuinely excited. She made a dinner reservation at a nice place that I've been wanting to try, and she said that she had a little surprise planned. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, real talk for a second. How do we feel about people wishing you a happy birthday? You know, like the stuff when they come around and they do the big like songs and the dances. We were talking about this recently because I had a bunch of friends a while ago. We're actually not in touch anymore. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but even when it was not someone's birthday, they would tell the stuff and be like, it's so-and-so's birthday, just so that they came to the table and kind of like made it a little bit awkward and embarrassing. And they were like, oh my God. I think it's because like we were all such introverts as well that we would be like just terrified at the thought of upsetting the poor waiting staff who were there just trying to get on with their day job, who are like, happy birthday. There are some people I know who absolutely bloody love it. Maybe we should do this red flag, green flag. OP continues, the surprise was that she invited a bunch of her friends. Oh. Like 6 of them. People that I barely know. One of them I actively dislike. Oh God, because she used to hit on me when my girlfriend and I first started dating. My girlfriend brushed it off, saying that it would make things more fun and lively. This went from cute to red flag super quick. Whatever, says OP, I tried to roll with it, but then at the dinner it just got worse. Oh, she spent the entire time talking to her friends. I was seated at the far end of the table next to 2 people that I'd never met. This is really bizarre. So she didn't even sit with you at the dinner? I don't know why that is what my brain is like latching onto, but that is unusual. She didn't even sit next to me. Thank you, OP, for clarifying. When the food came, they all toasted her for organizing everything and started talking about her upcoming promotion. So they didn't toast your birthday? That's very weird to be like, well done you for organizing. Like, imagine if there was a wedding, and at the wedding, the maid of honor, the best man come up and they do their speech and they're like, I would like to thank the wedding planner, Cheryl, come out here. You did such a good job today, babe. Woo! Let's party. Like, what? This is very bizarre. And the married couple are just sitting there like, oh. Her best friend gave a speech about how she deserves all the happiness in the world. I need to stop speaking and just let the posts do their thing for themselves. Not one mention of me or my birthday at your birthday dinner. No cake, no toast, no happy birthday, nothing. I would be so pissed. And this is not about being a diva. This is just about being like a decent human being and standing up for yourself. Like, what? I literally just sat there whilst everybody gushed over her for 2 hours. Eventually, I got up, I paid for my portion of the meal. That also makes me feel some kind of way. I know people have like split decisions on this, but I do think if it's your birthday, if you are financially able to, you cover, like collectively as a group, the person that you're there to celebrate. That's very bizarre. I said that I wasn't feeling well and then I left. I didn't make a scene or yell. I just quietly left. I'm so sorry, OP, that you had this, a whole idea planned, that you were told that it was going to be an event for you. Like, did your girlfriend pass on the message, or was she just using it as a chance to get her friends together? What I'm really confused about is why she used your birthday to do that. She is a 23-year-old person. She's perfectly capable of organizing an event, clearly. Why didn't she just do that for herself at another time? Why hijack your birthday for it? Hang on, I have more questions. You said that a bunch of your friends were in town, so was it just her friends that were there? Was it just you, your girlfriend, and the 6 people that you didn't know and didn't like? Or were your friends also there and you were just feeling kind of down, so you were like, look, thank you so much for coming, guys, but... And if they were there, then why did no one wish you a happy birthday? That's so bizarre. Opie finishes by saying, later she texted me saying that I embarrassed her in front of her friends and ruined the night. She said she really tried hard to make it special, yeah, for her, and that I was being ungrateful. A few of her friends have messaged me saying that I was being immature and that it wasn't that deep. But I don't know, man. Is it crazy to think that my birthday should have been at least a little bit about me? Am I the drama? No, babe. No. I'm so strong in this conviction. You are not the drama. My gavel said so. I do think we need to be careful as well, because whilst I know that stereotypes are stereotypes and we shouldn't be relying on stereotypes to make judgments of every single person, there's a reason that stereotypes exist, and society as a whole definitely functions a lot off of the assumptions that are provided, particularly in terms of gender roles. And a very common manly stereotype is that men are not allowed to complain or want things for themselves. They put up with it, they get on with it, they're not allowed to share their feelings, they're not allowed to be vulnerable. And so I think it's really quite shitty that you were excited about something, that your girlfriend made it sound like she was gonna do something and eat like these surprises for you, for your birthday. Such a reasonable assumption to make that it would be about you. But then when you're like, oh, I felt a little uncared for, I felt like I wasn't listened to, when you're being vulnerable, they're totally putting that back on your face and being like, stop being so immature, don't make it so deep. Imagine how crap that must feel, and how it just reinforces this idea that you're not allowed to enjoy things. This sucks. You are absolutely not the drama. Your girlfriend is the biggest drama. Their friends are the biggest drama. Multi-brownie badges all round. But also, are your friends the drama? Were your friends there? I know it's not up to your friendship group to save the evening that clearly went very wayward because your girlfriend was not very nice. But I'd like to think that if your friends were there, that they would have at least have tried to be a little bit about you and be like, this whole thing happening over there, this reunion that's got nothing to do with your birthday, that's weird. For this context of your birthday, that's weird. So we will make the most of your night. Like that could have been a cute thing. So if they were there and they didn't do that, they are also the drama. And you need to just find a whole new support group. But if they weren't there, then that's particularly shitty of the girlfriend for not inviting any of your friends. Not the drama. She didn't throw you a birthday dinner. She threw herself a dinner. Yeah, like an upcoming promotion celebration dinner with all of her friends. But decided that she could kill 2 birds with 1 stone if she lied and said that it was for you. Why? This is what I don't understand. Does she not like you? Why is she in a relationship with you? Or is she just that self-centered and blinkered that she didn't even realize? Like maybe the excitement of her friends took over. But either way, those are two different but very big red flags of a person. I don't know, just signifies like no care. I would feel really hurt. I would feel so sad if this happened to me. Ex-girlfriend fixed it for you. Of course, Reddit, jumping straight to the conclusion of breaking up. Look, I'm not saying that like sometimes it's deserved and sometimes it's important, but I do think that communication should absolutely come first. I wonder what would have happened if you did have a conversation with her about this and was like, hey, it sounds like OP did definitely try and have that conversation, and that not only has a girlfriend responded and been like, it's not that deep, she's gone and told her other friends about it, who are also now messaging me like, it's not that deep. It just sounds really immature to me, truly, which is so ironic considering she's calling you immature. It is time to walk, no run. Run away, for you have encountered the shrew. What is a shrew? I don't know what a shrew is. A shrew is an animal, right? Shrew. It's a lovely word. Oh my gosh, shrews are so cute. What is a shrew as a person? A scolding or bad-tempered woman. I am so confused. You're telling me that this tiny little cutie, how is this supposed to be a scolding or bad-tempered woman? Or are they like those little honey badgers that are like so cute to look at, but like the second you cross them, they're like, like all vicious? Is that the idea? I need to have this explained. I'll be doing some Googling later. Oh, OP has provided an update. We talked, says OP. She doubled down and said the dinner wasn't just about me, it was a chance to celebrate us and her hard work planning it. That's ridiculous. And no, that is actually gaslighting. This is not okay. Again, imagine if you were at your wedding and me as the bride went, I'm really sorry, wedding planner, but it seems a little bit bizarre that you have spent this entire time talking about you planning this wedding. And they were like, yeah, but it's not just about your wedding, is it? It's about the fact that I did such a good job planning it. No. We carry on. She admitted that she didn't invite my friends, so your friends were not there. It was just you guys and these 6 weirdos. Oh my god. Because they wouldn't vibe with her circle. Okay, right. I am not the kind of person to be like, break up with a but I don't feel like this relationship is working. This level of incompatibility, the fact that you are again being vulnerable and talking to her, and she's like, my friends matter more than your friends, especially for your birthday party celebration, so I only invited mine, and the fact that some of them have made you really uncomfortable in the past is just gonna cause for more of a spicy evening, which is so good for me. Please. Still no happy birthday. She still hasn't wished you a happy birthday. No apology. She just told me that I was being dramatic and should be thankful that she even organised something. I would rather you didn't organise something than you pretend to organise something for me, make it about yourself, and then highlight, actually no, you know what? I'm glad you highlighted these red flags, because at least now OP can act on that and be like, wow, this is not a very nice person. I guess the dinner really was about her, so yeah. Oh, I ended things. Yeah, I'm sad. I'm sad that this has occurred, but I'm also happy for you because you deserve better, babe. This is not okay behaviour. I don't know what level of delulu people need to be living in order to be this level of arrogant and self-centered, but this is not okay. Brownie badge for you, OP, though, for staying so calm and for having the conversation in multiple sort of like steps and seemingly still keeping your cool. OP actually provided a second update that said, I didn't expect this kind of response, but I appreciate the support, the tough love, and even the chaos. You helped me dodge a massive bullet. Sounds like it. Anyway, I'm doing good. I took a few days to breathe, blocked the ex and her groupies, and treated myself to a birthday dinner that was actually about me, with people who give a damn. Appreciate you all. I'm so happy for you. Happy birthday, my love. I hope the meal at least was nice and like tasty because you were excited to go to that restaurant. And I'm glad that with this birthday has come a growth moment for you to be happier for all of time. But you know, at least you have really, really dodged this bullet. I feel like that's a good present. Happy birthday to you. Am I the drama for considering divorce because my husband is constantly pressuring me to have a natural birth instead of a C-section? Oh my lord. This is again a cross-post over to the 1-800-DRAMA podcast. Thank you, Peach, for recommending it. These stories do be bananas. What is this? I don't know if everybody does this, but the second that I read these posts, I put myself in the position of OP. And I'm sat here going, oh my lord. I am pregnant, about to pop, I assume, in a relationship with my husband, and now I am considering whether my baby daddy should actually be my husband because of this experience that should be nothing but joyful and supportive. And that makes this feel 10,000 million times worse. OP says, I, a 27-year-old woman, have been open with my husband, a 34-year-old man, about my overwhelming fear of childbirth, particularly a natural birth. I've done a lot of research, I've talked to other women, and I've even attended a birthing class, but the thought of going through labour and delivery naturally terrifies me. We're going to read on. I have a lot of thoughts to unpack here. Luckily, my doctor supported the idea of scheduling a C-section for my peace of mind and emotional well-being. Cool. However, my husband has been very vocal about his strong preference for me to have a natural birth. He talks about it in almost every conversation that we have about the baby. It's like he can't let it go. Wow. How many conversations have you had? Whose orifice is this baby being pushed out of? Whose body is it that's going through the immense risk of childbirth? I can't remember why it is that people feel they can make decisions about somebody else's body. Yes, misogyny. That's the answer we were looking for. This would really piss me off. We still need to unpack the vaginal delivery versus C-section. Let's carry on with the post for now, though. It is really starting to stress me out, says OP. We had a discussion about it yesterday, and I told him to F off because it is my body and my decision, not his. You say it again, babe. You say it louder, you say it 20 million times, and you say it to the back. Because it is 2025, and I honestly am so concerned. I was going to say confused, also confused, but mostly very concerned that this is not a message that is being protected. I've started to consider whether this marriage is even worth it if he can't even respect my choices, says OP, when it comes to something as personal and important as my own birth experience. But I don't want my baby to grow up without a father. I went through that and I don't want it to happen again. Therefore, am I the drama for telling to F off, or am I overreacting? Oh my lord, it's painful. It's painful because you're also going through such a busy and difficult stage. This fear for your body, but also the hormonal fluctuations and sort of mental preparation that you need to do of being a parent, even if that's something like a journey that you are expecting and have voluntarily chosen to do. Being a parent is a scary thing. Taking on a dependent in that way and navigating all of this, with this being your first child too, I understand the fear. I'm sure everybody who has been pressured or thought that they have to have kids understands this too. So to think that your husband is putting this on your plate, I'm mad. I am mad on your behalf. I feel like I want to give my badge first. I feel very strong in my conviction that you are not the drama whatsoever. The biggest not the drama for wanting to do birth your way and for putting your husband in his place and being like, it's not your body, it's mine. Shut the up. Your husband is entitled to an opinion, of course, but he is not entitled to enforce anything beyond informing you what his opinion is. Personally, to me, anybody in your support network, that is as far as it goes. If it's to do with somebody else's body, they are an autonomous being who is fully able to consent. It is up to them what they do. Doesn't mean that you cannot express any concerns for their well-being, whatever that decision may be. Jamie might be having a new tattoo, for example. I might not like that tattoo. I am perfectly within my right, whether I should or not is up to me, but I could absolutely say, I personally am not a huge fan of that, but if that's what you want to do, it's your body, babe. That's it. That is the be-all and end-all of the conversation. If there is something that's going to potentially harm you, then of course, factually explain those risks, offer support and guidance to be like, have you looked into this properly? Are you aware that these could be the potential repercussions of your decision? But beyond that, you stay in your goddamn lane. Because unless you are the one popping that baby out of your orifice, I don't see why you would have a say. No. I will say though, and this may be a little bit devil's advocate-y, hear me out before you judge fully. On the question of am I the drama for overreacting? I don't know on this one. And I say this because we are not in your position, my love, and we do need a little bit more information on that question specifically. And I need to clarify, yes, it is of course entirely your decision. It is your body, it is your choice. If it's stressing you out that someone else is saying, oh, but have you considered this? Have you considered that? I can see why, especially internally, this could be a really big deal. At the same time, I really do wish that we had some more information on why your husband is saying this. Has that been a conversation that you guys have had? Because if not, you should really be asking, why is it that you are so intent on me going for a natural birth instead of a C-section? You might find that the answer is, because dear, from the very, very poor sex education that we had growing up, I have a very romanticized idea of what pregnancy will be. I see this idea of me being like, oh my goodness, I cannot look. You popping this gorgeous little bubba out, us cuddling the squish, and you being able to get up straight away and get on with work. However, I've heard with C-sections, that's a surgery. Things can go wrong. There's a knife involved. There's going to be recovery time. What do I do as a father concerned for this little baby squish when you can't get up because you have been cut open, dear? What then? I can actually see that coming from both a positive and a negative place. I can see how someone could perceive that as being more dangerous for your well-being and not understanding a fear. I can also see how that could be coming from a very selfish place of, excuse me, you are the primary caregiver caregiver because you're a mum. I'm a dad. I don't know how to do these things anyway, but especially not whilst I'm having to wait for you to recover. That could also be like part of the reasoning that would very much suck if that was the case. And that's why, like, I really, really would love to know if you have asked, and would encourage you to ask if you haven't, to be able to work through it. And the follow on from that too, have you actually told your husband as well why you are so afraid? Is that a conversation that you've had? Because it is a very, very valid fear. I too am so scared at the idea of giving birth. If I could have a little baby, I know there's adoption, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if there was a way to go through, you know, even the idea of pregnancy is not like something that's super appealing to me, but I know that that's really important to Jamie for when we do eventually have a family. And I can like just about deal with the idea of, you know, like having these changes to my body. I have PCOS too, so like I know how much I already have to regulate and do things with the consideration of maintaining my body now. I'm not talking about like from aesthetic point of view, I'm just talking about from like flipping hormones, dude, and hair and mood and like comfortability. It affects a lot. And the more I look into it and read about it, honestly, the more I freak myself out about the idea of pregnancy. There is diabetes that you can get. Not only could there be huge complications where you are the one in control of a little squish, not only does it affect your kind of like lifestyle, right? For 9 months, I'm a huge workaholic, and the idea of having a baby, I know is going to put a really big change in those plans. It's one that I will be doing and I will be fully ready for when that time comes. But right now I'm not ready, and so the idea of that is like kind of scary, like really freaking scary. And that's not even considering the additional problems that could happen to your body. Like, our medical care is still quite primitive in many, many ways. Childbirth itself comes with complications, but so does pregnancy. In some cases, it can cure things like diabetes and allergies. Just that experience of being pregnant can rebalance your hormones in a way that if you're allergic to something beforehand, you could no longer be allergic to it. It can also do the reverse. It can make you allergic to things that you were not allergic to before. It can make you have things like diabetes that you may not have had before. It changes the way you pee. It changes the way you do other things. You know, like these are all considerations. It changes your body to have a human being pushed out of it. Calciprese, and yes, it's beautiful. Yes, it's a miracle. Yes, it is impressive and powerful and amazing, but it's also totally fine to be really freaking scared of what that can do, because there's so many unknowns. And often when I share these things, these thoughts with my close network, I'll have 2 responses come back to me. Well, 3. There are some people who are just like, yeah, it's really freaking scary. But you know what, babe? It's okay. Because luckily, the brain gets rid of such a traumatic experience that should you wish to do it again, you can. You'll forget all about the pain. It's only temporary. I can see how in some ways that's very reassuring. In other ways, it doesn't make it any easier. But the most common 2 comments that I'll get is, well, babe, people have been doing this for centuries. From before we had medical technologies, people were giving birth out in fields, out on the road. Yes, I know this is the case. That doesn't make it any less scary, especially when you look into that and you're like, loads of people also died doing that. Along with the fact that, everybody does it. If you want a baby, you'll just be ready. You'll go through it. It's what you do. It's what you do. I get that too. But again, it is fine to want to be fully informed. It is fine to be scared. And the fact that you've gone to a doctor and they've gone, hey, you know what? You can do a C-section and this feels appropriate for your context. Who the frick is your husband, unless he is a medical professional too, which I doubt is the case based on this post? Who the frick is he to be telling you what to do in that situation? Like, and where is that coming from? If it's coming from any of those negative places, I feel like you will then know, and then you would not be overreacting. If, however, and this is where like the little devil's advocate bit came in from, that I digressed from a while ago, I'm sorry. All of these fears are making you personally scared, right? In a way that you're very entitled to be, but that is inflating it in your mind without having these conversations. It could be that maybe jumping to the idea of a divorce is an overreaction because you are in a huge hormonal state. And I'm not saying like, it's a woman, blame it on the hormones. Truly, your body is doing many things along with the compounding effects of these fears of giving birth, but also of being a mama, of also having a child generally. It's a really heavy time. And things that may not feel very big now can feel hugely big. I know this happens to me when I'm particularly stressed. And I do think it's just worth having that consideration in your mind as to whether jumping to the idea of divorce, if those conversations haven't been had yet, is an overreaction or not. Because we also don't have any idea here, right? Like how many times you've had this conversation, what the nuances of those conversations have been, where it's coming from him, how much you've shared about your fears. That's what I'm suggesting. But I really, really do not think that you are the drama at all for putting him in his place. And certainly not for being scared. I wish people talked about it more. I wish this was something that felt less taboo. And it's just yet another way of misogyny taking place in our world. We've had 2 posts here that feel very fitting for the current environment. Ooh, not the drama. He can give birth however he wants. You can give birth as you want. I love this. Yeah, stick a pineapple up his ass and try and tell him to pass it naturally. I mean, I know this is satirical, but sometimes it's really important to provide different examples and context to explain to people really what my body, my choice means and how the double standards really seem to work when it comes to men and women. I used to tell my ex that when he birthed a 9-pound ham out of his ass, I would listen to what he had to say. Someone has responded and said, babies have flappy parts. It's more like a 20-pound turkey. This Reddit is killing me. I cannot. Oh, Lord. Not the drama. Tell him it is your body and you will be making the decisions regarding your medical procedure with your doctor. The fact that it's his baby too doesn't entitle him to control over your body. He can either be a supportive partner to you or he can be shut out of it and you still make the same decisions without him being present. Nothing he does will change your decisions, and it's really important to remember that. Like, it is your body, and ultimately I can understand why you are questioning these things, because if as a principle you're not respecting ownership, what happens if your baby's a little girl and is raised in the same way that she feels like her body is not hers to decide what to do with? That would suck. That is something that if you're going to go into raising a family with this person, you deserve to know if that's like views and values that your husband holds. And you are perfectly entitled to put in your boundaries and your lines and decide what you want from a relationship. And I'm really hoping, I'm crossing my fingers and my toes, I'm manifesting for you that this is a conversation that you'll be able to get through to your partner with, and it won't end with a split family, but instead with your husband understanding and respecting bodily autonomy, as he will expect for himself. You can expect that for yourself, and you can be damn sure that these are the values that we'll be raising the next generation with, so that they don't struggle with the same issues that we are experiencing now. I bet 1,000%, says this commenter, someone is in his ear talking about the extended recovery time and how much more he'll have to help out. Do you know, the thought really did cross my mind, the idea that maybe this was coming from the idea of you having surgery, and maybe that's like from a positive place of, oh gosh, this could be more damaging for you, in which case make a fully informed decision, babe. Realize that there is risk going into all of these procedures, and we don't have a fortune teller's ball, so we don't know how safe anything is going to be when it comes to things like birth. Or if it's not coming from that place of genuine concern for you, maybe it's coming from that selfish place of, I don't want to be a father by myself whilst you are in bed lazing around, would be the viewpoints that these people have, right? Waiting for your scars to heal, and I'm having to do everything for the baby. I'm having to change the nappies. And to those people, I say, get in the bin. But I also say, check yourself, because you are saying this to the person who has grown life in their own organs for 9 months whilst you've sat on your ass not doing that. As a husband and a father of 3, not the drama. He needs to shut the f up or get the f out. Simple as that. Refreshing. Make sure the hospital knows about this so they can kick him out if he acts up, and tell your family too. I do think it's really useful to have a support network and to be able to share this with other people, to be able to like objectively give you an idea and some backing in whatever it is that you might be thinking, especially if you're thinking about things like divorce, my love. I'll bet this is about recovery time. Mr. Natural Birth doesn't want to step up, take care of his wife, baby and household for 6 weeks. For the record, my wife did all 3 deliveries in our own home and bed. I've never seen anything more impressing. Her body, her choice. Well, there you go. And I think that is everything that needs to be said on the subject. Drama. Am I the drama for refusing to drive if my wife is in the car? Whoa! This was not planned. But I'm definitely seeing the theme in this video all being like very based on gender roles. This is a huge discussion of gender. OP says, for years after we got married, I could never figure out why I'd be so angry and moody anytime my wife and I went somewhere. And then it finally clicked. I was only in a bad mood if I drove with my wife. My wife is the absolute worst backseat driver that I have ever seen. It doesn't matter how I drive, she'll still find things to complain about. Why did you go this way? If you'd went that way, we'd be there by now. You are driving too fast, you're driving too slow. You could have made that light unfrickin' real. That light was red and you blew through it. Can you brake any harder? Idiot. Oh, this is harsh. There were 17 great parking spots and you had to choose parking spot 18, which is the absolute worst. You turned on your blinker too late. You turned your blinker on too early. Whoa, why are you accelerating so slow? Whoa, was it necessary to accelerate that quickly? Things like that. Wow, really feels like you can't win. So for the past couple of years, says OP, I have refused to drive. I now make her do all of the driving, and lo and behold, I'm no longer a grumpy person when we travel. This is really interesting. My head is brimming over. My head initially went, hang on a second, I need to know though, are you driving poorly? But the reality is, the answer to that question is kind of irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you're driving poorly or not. This problem is to do with your communication style, or more namely, your wife's communication style, and feeling like you are not being supported or given constructive criticism that you can grow from. That is the problem that needs to be unpacked here. Whether you are an absolutely terrible driver or a wonderful driver, I say that, I guess if you are a wonderful driver, it kind of bears more value because it paints your wife as being particularly shitty. But I hope what I'm saying is coming across in the way that I intend it to, which is this is a problem with your communication style as a couple. And a couple of these words that you're saying are being said, like, really hurts my heart. It breaks my heart to think that people who unconditionally love someone could treat them with that level of unkindness, like on a regular basis. I understand sometimes people get very stressed. Sometimes you're in your head about something and you say things in the heat of an argument moment that you fully regret. But this constant, like, is nagging, right? This constant, you can never do anything right, I'm seeing as either being a deflection of her not addressing the proper issues and taking it out either on you or on you driving, when really she's upset with you about other things, just generally and perhaps consistently, or not about you, but just upset about the world, which is making her like focus on the negatives and just feel a need to have some kind of outlet. There is a third option where she could just be utterly traumatized by driving. Maybe there is something that has happened in a car where she feels the need to have total control, and she feels so out of control in a car that she is not driving because she's not in that driver's seat. That fear is then coming out in a very backseat drivery way. It sounds like a real extreme backseat driver. It's the word idiot that really got me though. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you fool to Jamie, but it just really hurts to see people being so mean like that to people that they love. Honestly, babe, if I were in your position, I too would not be driving, especially if that was the effect that it had on my well-being. And now that you are not a grumpy person and you've like pinpointed that that's exactly where it came from, I honestly don't think that you made a bad decision doing that. If your wife's in the car and this is how she nags and this is the way that you can protect your well-being, you bloody well do that. OP finishes off by saying she's now gotten upset that she's now always driving and told me that I need to at least split the driving 50-50 with her. I told her that if she could keep her opinions to herself whilst I was driving, then I would. She agreed. So last weekend I started driving. She didn't even last 3 minutes without criticizing. I pulled over and told her that I'm done. Either she takes over driving or we're going home. Good on you. I feel like you gave it a go. She said that she would do something. You imposed a boundary, not an ultimatum. She broke that boundary and I don't think she can be upset with what's happened here. I'm interested to see this outcome. She eventually took the wheel and she muttered that I drive like a moron. That's another horrible word right there. Even though there's only one of us who has any tickets and has fault accidents on their record and it's not me. Well, even though I said it's not like dependent on whether you're a good driver, I think that says what it needs to say. Therefore, am I the drama for refusing to drive? If she's present, no, babe, you are not the drama at all. Your wife needs to be checked on how she communicates. I will say that's just based on what we can see here. If you're giving as bad as you get, then this is real toxic communication coming from both ways. But right now, from what you're saying here, oh my lord, this is not healthy communication. This is not how you speak to someone that you love. And wherever this is coming from, fear, the misdirected anger at something else you've done, or misdirected anger at something else in the world, this has to be fixed because that is not great. I really do not think you're the drama. I can understand if someone's like, oh, I'm annoyed at doing all of the drives and maybe we need to split it, especially if we're doing longer drives, like me and Jamie swap in the car so often. Maybe there are other things that you could do to stop that backseat driving after you've had that first conversation, right? I think it's really important that you have that first conversation together, maybe with a therapist present. But if she continues to backseat drive, maybe you can be like, hey babe, you're in the back. Pop on some headphones and a nice little face mask and distract yourself from me driving. Maybe that's going to cause motion sickness. I don't know if that's a great idea actually, but I guess what I'm saying is I do think there is some worth in exploring definitely this idea of being able to split drives and working in a way where the only resolution is not just you being like, I'm not doing it. I hate to sound mean as well, but maybe an alternative could also be you kind of giving her a taste of her medicine. That sounds so mean, but it could be that you say, okay, whilst you are driving right now, I want you to understand how it feels to be a driver with someone backseat driving and never getting things right. Prepare yourself for the next couple minutes where I will comment on your driving in the way that you comment on mine so you can see how difficult it is, with the intention of showing you, right, that people can do things differently. People can indicate at slightly different times or accelerate at slightly different paces, and just because I'm not doing what you're doing doesn't mean that it's the wrong way of doing things. It's just an alternative way of driving where, guess what? I've gotten us safe on every trip. I have not crashed into a car, ruined the safety, gotten speeding tickets. I'm not judging you on yours. I'm just saying, Clearly the way that I drive doesn't cause a problem. So maybe that is a resolution that I would certainly be tempted to give a go. Absolutely not the drama, babe. Absolutely not the drama. Oh, I feel like we've been relationship counselors today. She is calling you an idiot and a moron. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that picked up on those words being like particularly hurtful. It sounds like you came up with a perfectly reasonable solution. She can't complain about you driving and force you to drive and call you names. That's not okay. What's the saying? You can't have your cookie and eat it. No, no, no. I think you did the right thing and you are not the drama. I'd never be able to handle my partner calling me an idiot or a moron in almost any context. Possibly if I cheated or did something so terrible that it couldn't be expected to play within the bounds of reason. That is so interesting. I'm really curious. How do you feel about this, Peaches? Listening to this, are terms like idiot and moron things that you just say? I personally feel like they're quite demeaning and I try my best not to. There are times, especially with my ADHD rage, where I can be like, oh, that's just so stupid. That was a really stupid thing. But I try to make a really conscious effort when I'm pointing out that a thing is stupid as opposed to a person. And there's a big difference there. Absolutely everyone does stupid things. And you can say, wow, that was a stupid thing for you to do. But that doesn't mean that you're a stupid person. Similarly, I could be like, oh, that was a bad move. That's not me saying you're a bad person. And I do think we need to be careful with the words that we use, especially around people that we love, because we might not be realizing the level of hurt and harm that resides, that keeps on a person when you chuck that label onto them. Not the drama. Have you two talked about not putting each other down and not belittling each other? I'd never be with someone that called me an idiot. There you go. This seems to be like a really common thing. How interesting. This isn't just belittling either. It's heading towards abusive territory. I wonder if she's also that bad at home. Not cool at all. I don't think we can like jump to those levels of conclusion, but perhaps this is something for OP to think about, or anybody else listening to this who might also be like, oh, you know what? My partner uses these terms against me, and maybe I should think about the wider context of how I'm treated, because that's not okay. I deserve better. Because you do, babe. One commenter says, I try really hard not to be driven by my husband. He tailgates as a driver. So unless I'm incapable, I will drive. We got home once with him driving. I got out of the car and threw up. So never again. Wow, that is bad. He doesn't really mind as he can then have more than one drink, but there's a couple of times that he's tried to be the driver and I just won't get in the car. I'm not embarrassed to stand on the street and wait for him to get out of the driver's seat. Good for you, babe. I get it. And we can all have our little quirks, but there's a difference between like trying to like enforce rules on people that are absolutely never going to be achievable because you're changing them every single time, and saying things that might just help you a little bit. I, for example, when I drive, I have an electric car now, so it's a little bit different. We use like this one pedal driving, so it's less possible to do the thing that I used to do that Jamie would get very annoyed. When you have like the brake and the accelerator pedal, I'd like pump the accelerator and then I'd like keep pumping it every time that I needed to accelerate a little. I wouldn't do it all the time, but he was like particularly sensitive to that feeling as somebody who like got motion sickness in the car. And I'm so fine with him telling me that, right? Because now I know that if I am accidentally defaulting to that in any way, I can then just hold the accelerator a little bit steady, make a conscious effort to do that a little bit, and then it becomes second nature. You know, similarly, Jamie goes over bumps, whoop, a little bit faster than I would like. And so I'm like, whoa, can you take that a little bit slower? Because sometimes I feel like a little bit. And at the end of the day, if you're on a giant hunk of metal going very, very fast down a road where other giant chunks of metal are possibly able to collide with you, it is so fine to want to be safe. So don't be afraid to speak out, but also do it kindly, especially to someone that you love. Oh, thank you so much, Peaches, for joining me on today's episode. I hope you took something away from that. As always, I'd love for you to join the discussion. You can pop over to the YouTube channel if you're listening to this on a podcast platform and join in the little comment section. Just remember to be kind. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform, remember you can rate every single episode individually as well as a podcast. Overall, it super duper helps us out. And if you're on YouTube, please, 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 please consider subscribing. It really, really supports more than you're aware of. Unless you're another creator and you're in this position, then you'd also be saying, yeah, please subscribe. Keep in mind that Surfshark is there for your VPN needs as well. For now, I will love you and leave you, and I'll catch you with another episode. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.